Hello and welcome to my video demo for my final year project as part of the WIT Higher Diploma in Computer Science. For my final year project, I developed a Koitlin-based mobile app. And the purpose of this app is to allow the user to track their dives. And it allows users to track the details of their dive and also keep a record of their own personal details, such as their certification number, the number of dives that they have logged, and so on and so forth. At the moment, you're seeing my landing page that I developed for the project, and within it, it has a small abstract of the reasoning behind the project, and then some documentations to do with the project modeling and things like that. So I'll get started in demoing the application. I'm going to do it within Android Studio, and I'm going to just restart the emulator. And I'll begin with registering a new user just to demonstrate this. So as you see, once the app starts up, we're presented with a splash screen. So the splash screen displays for about 4 seconds while the progress bar is shown. And for the purpose of this demonstration, I'm actually going to register a new user. So I'm going to click on register. Before I do that, I'm just going to demonstrate that if I am not actually registered, it should not allow me to log in. So let's have a look at that. And it comes up with this little toast message. So what I'll have to do is then I'm going to click on register, which will bring me to this sign up page. It requires my name, and my certification, which is the company that have certified me. PADI is usually the most common type. Certified number, which is important for divers when they are renting any gear, and the company will actually look for the certification number to make sure that you're able to actually go diving by yourself. You're given a status, so when you do your PADI course, your open water is your most basic. You can go on to advanced open water, things like that. A number of dives that you've done to this point, so that's an important one, because if you are a diver that's gone on dives before this app, you can actually say, well, I've done about 20 dives already, and that's important to keep a log of. So I'm going to sign up just simply with grace@gmail.com. And it asks me for a password and to verify the password. So if I do not verify that correctly and I still try and register, it will tell me that those do not match. So I can just add in that extra number. When I open up to the app, because I'm a new registered user, I do not have any logs or dive logged just yet. So what I'm going to do is add a new dive using this floating add button. And this is the main kind of dive adding activity. So you'll notice I have added lots of buttons here. These buttons are responsive and they will allow things to be collapsible and expandable. So the first thing I'm going to add is a cover image. This is just a nice way of formatting it so that the card, when it comes up in the list view, you can get a real good indication of where it is. Dive location, which opens up this little widget. When I click on the widget, it opens it up to a second activity or a second view, and I can actually move this marker to exactly where I want it to go, wherever my dive location is, obviously usually out in the ocean. So that's absolutely fine. I'm going to save that. And you notice that those coordinates will be here and within my dive details as well. I'm just going to add the date of the dive. I'm going to say I did it a few days ago. Perfect. And the dive details. So something that's required, or a few things are required, is the dive site, max depth, and the minutes. So I'm going to add those in. So I'm going to say it was in a place called Sunset Divers. It was a shore dive. So the most common one there is shore or boat dive. This one was off the shore. Max depth that we got to was going to be 50 feet. and we went for 55 minutes. I can also rate the dive here. So I'm going to say it was a good dive with 4 rating. I'm going to close this detail then. So the reason for these buttons is I found, especially within the emulator, the scroll feature was quite a challenge. So just to make it more user-friendly and a bit neater, I felt these buttons actually did work quite well. So let's dive details. Next is dive equipment. And based on our survey that we did, I found out that a lot of divers wanted to log the equipment that they actually used, whether or not they used a wetsuit, type of air that they used, and any weight. So say if we used a 10-pound weight because we used a wetsuit that day and we dived with just air. So the options are nitrox or air. Close that equipment again, and we can also log dive conditions, which is really good practice just to make sure that the logs are quite nice and detailed. So it was sunny and the ocean was calm, perfect diving conditions. We also have the option to log any marine life scenes. So we're lucky enough here in Grand Cayman that we see lots of turtles. And usually they're quite friendly. So we're able to take some images of them and we can save them too. And we can close marine life. And last but not least, then any points of interest. So within Grand Cayman, there's a few sunken ships that are placed there as artificial reefs. And a lot of statues as well. So they're kind of common enough to go and have a look at as points of interest for divers. So I'm going to add an image of Poseidon here, and then I'm going to save my dive. And here we see this card view. Okay, so we have the title of the dive site, what kind of entryway it was, so shore or boat, the date visited, and the ranking. So that's just what we see in our dive list, but we can click on it to expand on those details. So here we have a nice clear view of all the details just in one very precise short little view. If we wore a wetsuit or not, what the ocean's conditions were like, things like that, and we can collapse that again. We can also, I'm just going to demonstrate for you quickly adding a second dive. And I'm just going to click on this. I'm going to set a different dive location, and the purpose for this is that I like to demonstrate when you have more than one dive logged and a different location for each of those dives. Yeah, I'm just going to click on that. Perfect. So I'm going to close the map and going to give it a, say it was today, that's fine. And I'm going to give it a different title, which is going to be Macabuca. Lovely place to dive. Entry, we can say again, is shore. Max depth we reached was, again, let's say 50, and we only dived for 50 minutes this time. Rating, again, I'm going to say was 3. So when I save that, even though I haven't added all those details, that's absolutely fine. I just have my bare view, but the beauty of that then is that I can come into my menu, see the map of different dive sites, and here we can get a nice view of the island as a whole, at 7 Mile Beach here, and we can then click on the different markers to show where it was, the date that visited, and then that cover image is shown there as well. So that is quite nice. We can then go back and we can favorite a dive. So if we come down to the card, you'll see that there's these little heart shapes. So the heart shapes, once we click on those, will actually trigger the favorites to be selected. And we can come in and just view that in a separate list then here. So favorite dives is a new title, and then Macabuca is shown up here. We can then go click back to home, and then we see the full list view. So if we click on here, we can actually do a few things as well. I can go ahead and edit some of the details. So say, for example, if I wanted to change, well, actually, it wasn't Macabuca at all. Technically, it was Oasis. And actually, we didn't reach 50. We got to 30. So I can then save on that. And that will come up that actually we didn't, we changed it. Okay. I can also click on it and I can then delete any dives. So you'll see that when it's an edit dive log, we have this additional button beside the save and cancel, which is just delete. And if I click on delete, it will actually ask me, am I sure? If I click yes, it will log me out and I have to log back in just to ensure that I'm confident that I want to delete that. Log back in. Oops. Here we see that there's only that sunset dive that's still actually there. So as well as logging dives, it is important for divers to keep log of their PADI number, so their certification number, and the number of dives that they have done. That's often a thing you're asked when you rent gear. So you'll notice that when I first signed up as a new user, I logged my number of dives that I currently have had as 20. I only have one dive still there because I deleted the Macabuca dive. So now I only have 21, but as I log more and more dives, that number increases. Open water is my status, and down here then I can actually update my email. So this is another responsive button. So here it shows me what my email is, and for the purpose of this, I am actually going to use my WIT email because I do want to reset the password. So I'm going to just paste that in here. She won't let me. 2004 at, sorry, just want to get the correct phrasing of that. Mail at wit.ie. And it's 2 zeros there. Okay. And then I have to do the same thing here. So if I do something incorrectly, so say if I miss out that 844 at mail.wit.ie, and I try and change my email, it will not let me because there's an email mismatch. So I'm going to try that again. 6644. I'm just going to double check. Sorry, I never use this email address. Perfect. Okay, so let's go update and sign in. So then once I'm back out here, I can use that. And my password will still be the same at the moment when I log in, which is perfect. So I am the same person. If I go into settings again, you will see my email has changed here. And the last feature, which I think is quite important, is if I do forget my password before I want to reset it. So I can come down here to reset password. And what that will do, once I click on that, is it will send a reset password email to my registered email address, which is a real email address now. There we go. And I'm allowed to click on this and click on this link. Perfect. So I'm going to reset it, and then I'm just going to make it 1 to 9. Yeah, perfect. I'm okay with saving that. So now I can go to log out. Once I log in again, 2008 6644. Quite long-winded, and then I can log back in using that new password. So that's the main functionality of my LiveDive app. I think it's quite a good, robust app. As a diver myself, it is something that I would use. And based on the research I've done as well, I think it ticks a lot of the boxes for local divers in the area. So I hope you've enjoyed my little demo, and any questions that you do have, I'm happy to answer. Thank you so much.